guys, it's Liv, Eric, and baby Beau. And today for Vlogmas, well, first I should say we're back for Vlogmas. I missed a couple days. Beau and I both had a cold, and it was just hard, and we were tired, and just didn't happen. So, and Eric was working, so we can't exactly rely on him. But basically, a year ago today, we had our IVF transfer that resulted in Beau, and we just wanted to take a second to kind of reflect on that, I think.
So it was like a year ago we were in New York.
Mm-hmm.
The whole skating.
Yeah, we did that whole adventure. But before even that, we, to go back to that cycle, that cycle started in September, technically. That was like a 3-month cycle. The Lupron Depot shot. And it was a 3-month shot, but we didn't wait the full 3 months and wait for my period. We just started the frozen embryo transfer part of it prior to that happening.
Right. It was a lot of nights of needles and menopause.
Right. That Eric had to cope with that. That was, you can look back at some of my this was right when I started this channel, was when I did my Lupron Depot shot, and Eric, I have a video of me talking about how crazy I was, but you can attest, I was full on crazy.
No, she was an absolute sweetheart.
No, I know I wasn't. You don't even have to pretend like I wasn't as bad as I was. I was a pill. But, fair enough, and I think that was combined with a lot of anxiety because we had discussed that this would be our final cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of pressure in combination with that.
Whoa. Yeah, so then, the biggest thing is what we were talking about today or yesterday or whatever it was, is how much stress because of that, because we knew this was our last kick of the can, so we're kind of in New York City at this last week, and we were trying to enjoy it and take our minds off of it, but it was impossible.
Well, yeah, and I think there was also stress because my lining wasn't as thick as they wanted it to be, and then our transfer got pushed back, and so our travel plans, we had planned it all out perfectly, where we'd be there early enough that we could settle, and then, a good amount of time afterwards. But then all of that changed when our transfer got pushed. It was going to be flying sooner than I wanted to be flying back. And so it was a really stressful time. And then we also, when we showed up at the airport, we got a call from our friends. We're literally in line for security, and they're telling us that their kid has stomach flu. Right. And so we were supposed to stay with them. So we're trying to book last minute hotels. And then we booked a hotel for the wrong date. It was literally one thing after the other went wrong, and I think that I started feeling is this a sign that this is just not meant to happen?
Well, because when you go through it, there's so many things, and stress is such a big part of it, and so then it was a very stressful start. But then we kind of relaxed and did the Brooklyn Bridge thing, and I think kind of settled into the situation. So where
we were staying, we rented it was a fantastic location. It was a really cute little Airbnb, but below us there was it was just a restaurant, wasn't it?
It was a restaurant, but it stayed open till 2 a.m.
Are you liking this story? Jibber jabber. It stayed open till
2 a.m.
No, I think it was later than that.
Well, it was open till 2, and then the staff and everything would close down.
I think that was actually the bigger thing, is that after they closed, they would pound the music.
Yeah.
Or pound the music, whatever, you know what I mean. Blare the music. So Eric ended up buying me really nice noise-canceling headphones just so that I could relax, because if I wasn't sleeping and I wasn't feeling relaxed, then that would be a good thing. But anyways, on the transfer day, we showed up, and and I had the uterine wash prior, and that wasn't very comfortable, but it went fine. And then we got taken back, and they only had thawed 1 embryo. Yeah. Which, if you've seen our infertility story, all of our prior transfers we had transferred 2, and we had still not been successful. So the whole idea was that we would transfer 3 to try and up our odds, because clearly there was likely to be something going on in terms of genetics or egg quality or whatever.
Yeah, and so then we got there, and then there's only one, and then of course, like, the staff will try and convince you that one is the best way to go, and so they're
so they were
they're
having
like,
a big debate.
so then the staff was sitting there saying like, well, I don't think you want to do that, and like, you're young and healthy, and so then it was like a whole kind of thing, and then our doctor showed up, and we're like, we're doing 3, and he's like, yeah, okay, no problem, and so then we thought it out.
Well, we sat, we chatted, we questioned ourselves for a bit. We were like, are we doing the right thing? Like, should we be transferring 3? Like, I remember in that last moment feeling so much pressure, being like, I need to make the right decision. Like, I can't,
No, you said,
I don't want to regret it.
You said that you have to make the decision.
Did I?
Yeah, and I said 3.
He said 3.
And then I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, I think that was, I wanted to do 3, but I also didn't want to feel I was too stressed, like, about the procedure and being put under and all of these other things that I don't think I could fathom making that decision. I just couldn't even process.
No, you're going through a lot. So we went with 3, and then
they put me under, took me back. You weren't allowed to come with me.
No, quick.
It was our smoothest transfer. We had a history of difficult transfers, and so
yeah, that was fun. Because it was the first time the doctor had come back, and he came back, Dr. T, and he said, he's like, that went amazing. And I was like, really? Because usually it's like,
well, you know, it was
like,
difficult. We got it in there.
We went in, but then we had to pull back up, and then we went in, and then we changed the catheter size, and then we got it. You're like, well, I don't know.
So I mean, it was definitely encouraging to hear that the transfer went well. I mean, I think that gave us a lot of hope that we hadn't had previously.
Mm-hmm.
He's very distracted by our child. He's pretty cute. But yeah, and then I came out. I mean, I was super loopy for a while, but emotional. I think we were both pretty emotional, just knowing that was sort of the last transfer we'd do potentially ever, or maybe just for a long time. Our picture of our embryos, so still have those. I'd like to maybe frame this or something. I think that'd be a good idea, just so we always have it. We still don't know which one Beau was, because there were 3, right? And
well, which one were you?
Yeah, which one were you? Point. That one?
That one? All right.
So Beau says he's this one, just for the record. But yeah, and I think that I was very hopeful. We documented all of my symptoms. I did bed rest. Eric took care of me. He was doing work while we were there, but you essentially took care of me, and I did modified bed rest. And we tested. I started testing right from the get-go. Tested every single day. One day I had this shooting, electric cramp, and I remember making note of that. I don't remember what day it was, but I remember being like, I think maybe that's, because I've heard of that. I've heard other women talk about that. Not everyone experiences it, but I definitely, when I had it, I thought, oh, maybe that's it. Maybe this is the time. So I think, that might have been little Beau-man implanting, and he says yes. But we didn't get our positive until 6 days past transfer, so that wasn't for a few days yet, but...
Nope, but we traveled back and tried to just be as...
Yeah, we weren't in New York when that happened.
Yeah, as calming and relaxing as possible.
I actually had this book, this is where that picture is in, but it's in this journal that I had, which is Visualizations, Affirmations, Positivity. This is what I named my journal. The cover came off because I had it with me every night. But basically, every day we wrote in here just positive affirmations. We will see a positive pregnancy test. The embryo that we put back in will result in at least one healthy baby. And we continued, every day we wrote in here.
We started that, well before.
Well, so yeah, we started this early, obviously. But anyways, every day we tried to pour positivity into this cycle, and just, it went on and on and on and on, literally. Pages. And then transfer eve, I made a little note, and I said, tomorrow we put back in 3, da-da-da-da-da. Tomorrow's the day, it's our turn, we are pregnant, we are fertile, we are parents, I am pregnant, I am a mother. And I think this was really important for us because I think that it was so easy for us to get into that funk of previous cycles of saying like it didn't work before, why would this time be any different?
Yeah.
And I think when you're dealing with infertility, you get in that rut. I don't know, like how can you think it's gonna be different? Yeah,
it's such a gray area of science too. So a lot of times like it's unexplained, like we were, and so then it's kind of tough.
We had started too. Endometriosis and possible male factor. Like it was sort of.
Yeah, but it's still like we don't know, right? So then it's like when you're doing something because you think it's not as like clear cut as a lot of procedures. So it's tough to say like that will solve it. So this just kept us positive.
I tested on 5 days past transfer, and I told myself that I wouldn't get upset if I didn't see a line because it was still early. We started testing right from the get-go, but I kind of knew that like a lot of women get their positives starting at like 4 days past transfer or 5 days past transfer, and especially with us having transferred 3, I just felt like for sure by 5 days we would start seeing something, but we didn't see anything that day.
Yeah, that was a tough day.
So, you know, I tested twice that day. I think most other days I only tested once. Woo! I think our time is limited. But anyways, obviously we ended up getting our positive pregnancy test. We'll link that video up above. But in remembrance of our transfer day, I thought we would do a little walk back memory lane of our transfer day. So here's our transfer day in 1 minute. Enjoy! And until next time, bye guys.
Bye guys.
I have a ball of nerves.
She's doing really good.
It hurt. More than I was anticipating.
She might be mistaken too. We don't know anything.
There was confusion in the number, so they thought 1, but we are planning for 3.
He said you woke up like instantly.
Did they put me back to sleep after that?
Just a little bit now, but everything was good. There you go. Okay. How would I hold?
I'm crying. I'm weepy. And my eyes open. I'm gonna keep joking, I'm eating for 4. And then these are our embryos. And
that one's me.
There's a big guy. This one was, I think, the one that they thawed first. Like with the confusion, they thought we were only transferring 1, and I think that these 2 are the other 2. There was one that was double A and 2 that were double B, whatever that means.